So if you know anything about me, you probably know that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is not my cup of tea. Uh, I've gotten a lot of flack for this over the years. TLDR, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure just isn't my thing. It's not one of my favorite series. I generally enjoy it, and I really, really appreciate the legacy that Araki's brought forth, and a lot of the characters and ideas, but as a full package, it isn't really my thing. And a couple of years ago, I released this video. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure isn't my cup of tea. Just to, if you want a proper overview of a really quick one, just 7 minutes, of why this isn't really my thing, just search up JoJo's Bizarre Adventure isn't my cup of tea. I'll maybe put in the description as well. But TLDR, JoJo's isn't really my thing, and a lot of people know that about me. However, having said that, I am actually currently going through part 7 of JoJo's, Steel Ball Run. I'm currently 36 chapters through of 96 chapters, which is, I know that the chapter length varies over time in the series, but it's roughly a third or so through it. I've had a handful of streams as I've read through it, and I'm going through it. And it is something that I've been very open to for quite a while. I've been very open to reading part 7, and not only reading it, but on stream, because of how many people said that it's so great, how it's more up my alley than the other parts, and even if it isn't, I'm never gonna stop reading or watching JoJo's. I'm just, it just isn't really my thing. So yeah, we are currently reading through JoJo's Part 7 on stream. If you'd like to join in those streams, feel free. They're a lot of fun. And some people have found it interesting for someone who's not necessarily a fan of JoJo to sort of explore Part 7 and what it does with the series' legacy and trappings and how it evolves the series and its themes and characters and all that sort of thing. As for my verdict, as the title says, I'm enjoying it a lot. I think comparatively, Part 7, I'm enjoying more than any other part, than I have enjoyed any other part at this point comparatively in the series, in their respective lifespan. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, I would rank the parts 4, 6, 5, 2, 1, 3, I think, with 4, 6, and 5, 4, 5, and 6 being full of really cool ideas and really cool elements that I really appreciate, but just the full package not being favorites of mine. And the other 3 not really being my thing pretty much wholesale. But when it comes to this, I'm enjoying it a lot more. And just to give a sort of brief overview as to why I believe that is, I think a lot of it comes down to me reading it. I do think that the anime adaptation really pads out the pacing a little bit, unfortunately. I haven't read the manga, so I can't speak for certain about that, but it really seems to me like the anime takes a bit too long with certain fights, and it takes a bit too long to get to certain places, and it feels a bit padded out and thin as it navigates these fights and these situations that are in the story. Because having read Part 7, I've gone through sequences, parts of Part 7, I've gone through sequences that are similar, very similar to what I've experienced already in the series. And don't get me wrong, one of my big problems with JoJo, or one of my biggest problems with JoJo's, is pretty much that the fights can, I think, be a bit too overly elaborate, and I do like the cheesy fun and the way that they're exposited and communicated, but it just takes a bit too long sometimes, and can be a bit thin in terms of character work. And I think they're a bit too prevalent in the series. There's a bit too much of it a lot of the time for me to properly enjoy it. So, having said that, Part 7 so far does have fights like that, but in my opinion, they don't overstay their welcome nearly as much. Now, I don't necessarily know if that's a Part 7 thing, that they get a bit more efficient in Part 7 and a bit richer in Part 7, or maybe that's just a JoJo's thing in general, and that's part of the manga, and the anime just doesn't do a great job with it. Maybe that's the case. I'm not sure. But either way, the fights don't overstay their welcome as much. We do have fun with them on stream, and we've gotten a lot of laughs out of it, a lot of memes out of it, and they're a good time, for sure. And I find myself enjoying them and feeling that they lessen my enjoyment of the story for Part 7 less than they do for the other parts, if that makes sense. In addition to that, I think the art, Araki's art in terms of presentation, is just a step above what the anime does. I think the anime does a good job in places, for sure, of adapting the material, from what I can tell. but the manga is just like the purest distillation of JoJo's, and Araki's art and the spreads, God, I love them. I love them so much, and it really contributes to my enjoyment. So the manga medium, I think, is a big contributor to my enjoyment for this, and really helps me enjoy it more than I did for the anime. And as well as that, I just think that there's something unique with Part 7 that is not really present in the other parts, which is... Well, let me back up for a second. I think that one of my favorite things about JoJo is the abstract way that it presents its themes and covers its themes of karma, of fate, of destiny, and how that's approached through the powers and the characters and all that sort of thing. I think parts 5 and 6 delve into this really well, and it's one of my favorite things about parts 5 and 6, Pucci, Diavolo, etc. But Part 7's continuing this while also having a keen eye on the theme of legacy through Diego, and that sort of thing, and his character. It also has great characters like Sandman, Poco Loco, which kind of, in some ways, dwell on that too, and I appreciate that a lot too. But that isn't super unique. What's unique to me about Part 7 is that Johnny and Gyro have a relationship and dynamic that is nothing, like, that is so up my alley, so full of quality from the start, that really feels so weighty and emotional from the very beginning. It feels like a legend of a relationship. And JoJo's has not given me a dynamic like that. And this is the first time I've felt this way. I felt this strongly about a dynamic between two characters. My favorite character in the series up till now, not including Part 7, is probably Rohan Kishibe from Part 4. Kira from Part 4 is up there as well, Josuke is up there as well, Jolene from Part 6, Pucci from Part 6, but Rohan's probably my favorite. And I think both Johnny and Gyro have a really good chance of being 1 and 2, both of them. And more to the point, a dynamic like this has really not been in the series, in my opinion, up till this point. And it really just hooked me, grabbed me, made me wonder, how are they going to impact one another's lives? At first, it seemed like Gyro was going to be this sort of role model and this light for Johnny, and Johnny would start to walk metaphorically as a result of him. And that is happening in a sort of Simon Kamina-esque way, but at the same time, in recent chapters I've read, it's reversed, and Johnny is doing that for Gyro. Gyro's learning from Johnny, and it's a real give and take. It's very dynamic. It's such a weighty, emotional, dramatic, beautiful relationship that really keeps me guessing and is so beautifully presented and can be really silly at times too. And I love it. And I think that is really probably the biggest reason why I'm enjoying this more than the others, more than the other parts. There are a lot of reasons, a lot of which I've gone over, but that is probably the most, the biggest hook. And every week, we stream this every Wednesday in my read-through of this. I just cannot wait to see more of them, more of their relationship, more of how they progress and how they bounce off of one another. And yeah, it's just a joy, and it's so up my alley, so up my alley. You know, at the point that I'm at in the story, they've both gone through great development, and I am actually predicting that Gyro's gonna die. We'll see. We'll see. I've had a lot of predictions, but if you would like to see all of them, see my journey through this story, feel free to follow me on Twitch. The link will be in the description, and every Wednesday we're going through it. We're going through JoJo's Part 7. It's a great time every week. And yeah, I just wanted to make this video to sort of touch base on my thoughts on JoJo's, how much I'm enjoying Part 7 in comparison to previous parts, and kind of explain why. Yeah, I just thought I'd do that in case anyone was interested. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later, maybe on stream, with the JoJo's Part 7 streams. Can't wait to see where the story goes. Many thanks for watching.